Welcome. If you've ever loved someone who made you doubt yourself, if you've ever felt invisible in the presence of their need to shine, if your body still tenses when you imagine their voice, this story is for the part of you that has lived under emotional control and is ready to step into quiet, grounded freedom. So take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, let your shoulders soften. This is not a story about blame. This is a story about release. Her name was Annie, and her mother, everyone said, was remarkable. Charming, accomplished, always perfectly put together. The kind of woman who turned heads at gatherings, whose words carry authority and elegance. But behind closed doors, Annie knew another version. A mother who turned every emotion into a weapon, who praised her when it made her look good, and shamed her when it didn't, who could cry on command and smile through manipulation. Annie had learned early that love had strings, that affection could vanish the moment she disagreed, that silence was safer than honesty. And so, she became what her mother needed: polite, obedient, endlessly forgiving, the perfect reflection of someone else's story. Even after Annie moved away, her mother's presence lingered inside her. It lived in her in the way her chest tightened whenever she received a text that began with, "I'm disappointed in you." It lived in the reflex to apologize first, even when she hadn't done anything wrong. It lived in her voice, soft, careful, shrinking. The body remembers what the mind tries to minimize, and Annie's body has spent a lifetime anticipating storms. Until one night, as she sat in her car outside her apartment, hands gripping the steering wheel after another draining call, she whispered out loud, "I can't keep losing myself to please someone who refuses to see me." The air around her went still, and for the first time, she felt a small, fierce kind of peace rising up from somewhere deep within. It began subtly, not rebellion, just noticing. She noticed how her mother's praise always carried a blade. "Of course you got that promotion. I taught you everything you know." She noticed how guilt was disguised as love. "I just worry because you never call enough." And she noticed how every boundary she tried to place was met with wounded silence or sudden rage. For years, Annie tried to explain herself. She wrote long messages, careful and calm. She tried to clarify, reason, fix, but nothing ever changed. Because narcissists don't seek to understand, they seek to control. And one evening, after another circular conversation, Annie simply stopped explaining. She exhaled and said quietly, "I'll call you later," and didn't. That was the first step out of the maze. At first, the guilt was unbearable. Every no felt like betrayal. Her mother's words echoed in her mind. "You've changed. You don't care about family anymore." But Annie kept breathing through it. She remembered her therapist's words. "Guilt is just an old alarm system. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It means you're doing something new." So she practiced small boundaries at first. Shorter calls, longer pauses before replying, refusing to justify her choices. Each act of self-respect rewired her nervous system. She began to feel something foreign, yet beautiful: space. Her mother protested, of course, sent paragraphs of disappointment, used tears as tools, and told stories that made Annie look ungrateful. But this time, Annie didn't chase approval. She didn't fight. She didn't fold. She just whispered, "That's your opinion," and let the silence protect her. In the months that followed, Annie learned how to listen to her body instead of her mother's moods. When guilt rose, she breathed into her stomach. When fear whispered, she touched her heart and said, "You're safe now." And when her body felt light after saying no, she took that as evidence of healing. Her breath became her rebellion. Her calm became her boundary. And in those quiet evenings alone, she felt the faint hum of self-trust returning. One afternoon, a memory surfaced. She was 12, standing at the top of the stairs, her mother below, shouting through tears, "You're making me look like a bad mother." The young Annie had stood frozen, believing she was responsible for her mother's happiness. But now, years later, the adult Annie closed her eyes, imagining the little girl again, and she knelt beside her, whispering the words her mother never could. "You were not the cause of her pain. You were just the mirror that showed what she didn't want to see." Tears came quietly, not from weakness, but from release. In that moment, she forgave herself for all the time she believed love meant self-erasure. Healing didn't make her mother softer. It made Annie stronger. She stopped expecting closure. She started choosing distance when she needed peace. She learned that she could love her mother without allowing her to keep hurting her. There were still moments of doubt, birthdays, holidays, texts that arrived with a sweetness that stung. But now Annie had tools: slow breathing, somatic grounding, and the phrase that freed her again and again: "I can love her from afar." And now, listener, as Annie's story settles in your mind, you might notice your own breath slowing. You might notice a part of you softening. The part that's tired of walking on eggshells, tired of chasing warmth from a cold sun. Because this isn't only Annie's story, it's the story of anyone who has ever loved a parent who could not love them back in a healthy way. And now your body too can begin to learn a new language. I don't need permission to be at peace. Their voice is no longer my truth, and I'm not their echo. With every breath, the old patterns unravel. With every exhale, you reclaim more of yourself. You begin to sense it now, that quiet, glowing truth rising inside you. You are in your own safe place now. So take one more slow, steady breath, and as you exhale, release all that was never yours to carry: the guilt, the obligation, the illusion that love must be earned. Because it doesn't. It never did. You are not responsible for healing your mother. You are responsible for healing yourself. And in doing so, you become the cycle breaker, the one who turns pain into peace. And now, as Annie's stories settle softly in your mind, you may feel something loosening deep inside you, something that has been tight for years. A quiet tension that once kept you safe, but now is ready to rest. You don't have to think. You don't have to fix. Just breathe and let your body begin to unlearn what her voice once taught you. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and exhale gently through your mouth. Feel the air moving in and out of your body. Steady, rhythmic, patient. Each breath tells your nervous system it's safe to be here now. Let your attention drift down to your feet. Feel them connected to the ground. Imagine roots growing from your soles, strong, golden, and alive, reaching down into the earth, finding stability in something older and wiser than her moods. This is your safety. It does not come from her approval. It comes from the earth, from your breath, from your own presence. With every exhale, let the old fear flow out. The fear of saying no, the fear of disappointing her, the fear of being yourself. Let it go gently, as if exhaling smoke after a long fire. Now bring your awareness to your chest, that place that once tightened each time she sighed, or raised her eyebrows, or said your name in that tone that carried both love and criticism in the same breath. Feel the memory of that tension, and imagine that with every slow exhale, you are clearing space in that chest, space for your own truth to live. Because her voice does not belong inside your body anymore. Her disapproval, her constant comparison, her subtle guilt, all of that was the language of her pain, not your unworthiness. So now, imagine her words floating out of you as ribbons of gray mist, dissolving into the air. And in their place, a softer voice begins to rise within you, your own, warm, gentle, real. You might hear it whisper, "I am not her reflection. I am not her project. I am not her emotional caretaker. I am free to exist as myself." Let those words echo through you until they feel like truth inside of hope. Now, imagine the younger version of you, maybe 10 years old, maybe younger, standing in a quiet space. She's alert, cautious, as if waiting for someone's reaction. You can see how her body braces, the way her shoulders lift, the way her eyes search for signs of safety. Go to her. Approach slowly, the way you would approach a scared animal. Soft voice, open heart. And when you reach her, kneel down so your eyes are level with hers. Say to her softly, "You don't have to be perfect to be loved. You don't have to keep the peace anymore. It's not your job to make her happy. You get to rest now." And watch as that little girl begins to breathe again. A full, deep breath that she hasn't taken in years. Let her lean into you. Hold her close. Feel her heartbeat slowly matching yours. You are the safe mother she always needed. You are the love she waited for. And as you hold her, she begins to dissolve into the light, merging back into your heart, where she always belonged. That's what integration feels like. Wholeness returning. The child and the adult becoming one. Now imagine a thin, energetic cord connecting you to your mother. It runs from your heart to hers. A cord that has carried too much pain, too many unspoken words, too much guilt. You don't need to cut it with anger. Just hold it gently in your mind. And as you breathe out, imagine the cord shrinking, lightening, loosening. It doesn't disappear. It just stops draining you. And it becomes a thread of neutrality, where love can exist without control, without manipulation, without pain. And as that cord relaxes, feel how your body sighs in relief. You are still connected by humanity, but no longer by obligation. That's what emotional freedom feels like. And in the quiet that follows, your subconscious begins to listen. It begins to understand you don't need to anticipate danger anymore. That old hypervigilance, the scanning of tone, the analyzing of silence is no longer required. You can whisper this truth to your body now. I am safe to relax. It's safe to be myself. It's safe to rest without guilt. And with each phrase, imagine your nervous system recalibrating, like strings of an instrument finally being tuned to the frequency of calm. Every cell in your body begins to learn this new rhythm. Peace as baseline. Not as a visitor, but as home. Now, repeat softly inward these truths. I release the need for her approval. I release the guilt she placed in me. I release the story that I was too much or not enough. I reclaim my right to exist as I am. I am whole, worthy, and safe within myself. Let each phrase echo through the quiet space of your mind, like waves on calm water. And as they settle, feel your body responding. shoulders lowering, breath deepening, heart steady and warm. Now imagine yourself standing in a gentle light, not bright, not blinding, but the kind of light that makes everything clear. You see yourself as you truly are, as an adult woman, centered, steady, no longer defined by her story. You might imagine a soft breeze brushing against your skin, symbolizing freedom. And in that breeze, you hear the words, "I am my own safe place. I mother myself now with love, patience, and truth." Her voice fades, mine remains. Let those words root in your subconscious like seeds in fertile soil. Now, slowly begin to bring your awareness back to your breath. Notice how it feels calmer, slower, deeper. Feel your body against the surface beneath you. Notice the steadiness of your heartbeat. Notice the peace that has been replaced by the old ache. In a moment, I'll count from 1 to 5. And with each number, you'll become more present, more aware, and more anchored in your truth. 1. Breathing in calm. 2. Releasing the past. 3. Feeling grounded in your body. 4. Opening your eyes to a new self-concept. And 5. Fully awake, deeply peaceful, and free. And now, as you return to your day or night, you carry this knowing deep inside you. You don't need her approval to exist. You don't need to explain to be valid. You don't need to perform to be loved. You are enough. You are safe. And you are free. Let this truth echo through you long after the story fades. Peace is my inheritance. Calm is my birthright. I am not her echo. I am my own voice. And so it is.